Warning! The following program contains sarcasm, caffeine, and more common sense than Congress has seen in 36 days. Viewer discretion is advised if you voted twice in 2020, drive a Prius with 6 stickers, or still think CNN is news. This is Data and Dissonance, where truth is caffeinated, the hosts are unfiltered, and the roast never stops.
Day 36. The government's been closed so long, the White House plants have unionized and demanded hazard pay. Meanwhile, China's lifting tariffs like a magician who wants you to look at one hand while he steals your wallet with the other. And New York City just broke a new record. They managed to elect a mayor who checks more diversity boxes than a Starbucks training video. So grab your coffee, preferably the Data and Dissonance Patriot blend, and let's get weird. All right, before we jump into the chaos, let me introduce the circus crew I'm stuck with every week. First up, Brian, the only man who drinks energy drinks like communion wine and thinks balanced diet means holding a cheeseburger in each hand. This guy's blood type is caffeine and his spirit animal is an F-150. If MAGA had a mascot, it'd be Brian in a trucker hat holding a bald eagle. Next, Rachel, the independent thinker who somehow manages to call out both parties and still make them want her vote. She's got the calm of NPR and the burn rate of a flamethrower when she sees government waste. Rachel's the reason half our listeners started buying books again. Then we've got Daniel, our resident conspiracy theorist. If there's a shadow government, Daniel's probably got them on speed dial. He once connected the Denver airport, the Federal Reserve, and an Arby's coupon in the same theory. And honestly, it kinda made sense. And finally, Skylar, our eco-friendly socialist lightning rod. She composts her insults, plants trees for every argument she loses, and once tried to convince Brian that tofu counts as self-defense. Together, these four make up the most chaotic dinner table in America. And I, your host Artie, am just here to keep the coffee hot and the FCC on edge. 36 days, folks. The government's been closed longer than Hunter Biden's laptop repair ticket. The feds are out of office, national parks look like post-apocalyptic zoos, and somewhere in DC, a senator's still collecting a paycheck for doing less than a YouTuber. Let's break this down before someone calls it austerity chic. Brian, you've been lighting up the comment boards all week. What's your take?
Look, Artie, I'm fine with it. The longer they stay closed, the more America functions like it's supposed to, without bureaucrats. Small businesses adapt, people hustle, and the IRS takes a nap. The only ones panicking are lobbyists and cable news anchors. You know it's bad when CNN starts interviewing each other for content. I say keep it closed till Christmas. Give us the gift of silence.
Spoken like a man who pays cash and hides his lawnmower receipts. But Daniel, you've got that glint in your eye again. I can already feel a theory loading in your head like Windows 95. Hit us.
You want the truth? This shutdown isn't about budgets, it's about control. They're stress-testing society. Cut the food benefits, delay paychecks, see who cracks, then swoop in with digital relief credits. The next phase, a nationwide temporary digital ID card to access services. And once that happens, every American becomes a walking QR code.
So basically, we're one executive order away from Black Mirror Capital Edition. Rachel, please bring us back to Earth before Daniel starts drawing maps on the table again.
Honestly, both sides look ridiculous. Congress has turned the shutdown into a flex-off. Who can pretend to care harder? Democrats blame greed, Republicans blame wokeness, and the rest of us are just trying to buy groceries. The government's acting like an ex who swears they've changed but keeps maxing out the credit card.
Preach, Rachel. I haven't heard that much common sense since the last time I called my mom. Skylar, you're up. How's this look from the activist angle?
It's embarrassing, Artie. Real people are suffering, and these politicians are arguing over whose yacht gets fueled first. We keep electing millionaires to solve poverty. It's like asking an arsonist to fix your smoke alarm. Maybe it's time to fire everyone in DC and start over with people who actually know the price of milk.
Amen to that, Skylar. The only milk they know about comes in a lobbyist's latte. Folks, we'll keep watching the world's least productive circus as it burns through our patience and paychecks. But first, a quick message from one of our definitely not real sponsors, You'll want to hear this one.
Are you a furloughed federal worker stuck at home with nothing but time, regrets, and expired cafeteria coffee? Introducing Furloughed and Flirty, the dating app for America's temporarily useless. Connect with others who understand the thrill of uncertainty and the passion of unpaid overtime. Swipe right on Tina from Treasury. She's looking for someone to budget her emotions. Or match with Gary from the IRS. He might not process your refund, but he'll definitely audit your heart. So while Washington's shut down, open yourself up to love. Furloughed and Flirty. Because romance doesn't require congressional approval. When the government's gone, love goes on. Furloughed and Flirty.
I swear, if they ever make that app, half of Congress will sign up by lunch. Coming up next, China's playing nice again. Or are they just setting the table for another trap? All right, folks, welcome back to Data Dissonance, the only show brave enough to admit that if China sneezes, Wall Street catches the flu. The big headline: Beijing suddenly decided to lift tariffs on U.S. farm goods. All smiles and handshakes like they didn't spend the last decade robbing our patents and poisoning our TikTok feed. But don't worry, they're keeping a nice fat 10% tariff on soybeans. You know, the one crop we actually dominate. Sounds like a deal written by Hunter's old business partners. Let's break this down before somebody ships me a fortune cookie that says, "You've been compromised." Brian, you're the resident patriot and part-time economic bulldozer. What's your gut on this one?
It's the same old game, Artie. Every time they act friendly, we end up paying for the dinner. They throw us a bone with one hand and hack our servers with the other. We should have learned our lesson back when they were buying up half of Iowa and sneaking into our college research labs. This tariff cut isn't generosity, it's bait. They see Trump rebuilding American manufacturing, and they're sweating harder than Joe Scarborough during a push-up contest. You don't get peace from communists, you get invoices.
Amen to that, brother. And honestly, if Beijing starts offering deals, I start locking the doors. But Daniel, I already know you've got strings, webs, and probably a 12-point theory involving satellites and soybeans. What's your angle?
Oh, you're not wrong, Artie. Look, these tariff cuts aren't random. This is phase 2 of China's Economic Silk Road 2.0. They're re-establishing dependence. Drop a few tariffs, act like good global citizens, get rural America back, addicted to their markets, then once we're comfortable, bam, they'll pull the plug and crash agriculture futures overnight. It's how you destabilize from within. While the media drools over diplomacy, the CCP's mapping out which states it can starve with a spreadsheet.
So what you're saying is, somewhere deep in Beijing, a bureaucrat's running a how-to-break Kansas PowerPoint. Good to know. Rachel, you've actually worked around policy circles. How's this playing out from the sane side of the room?
Well, it's classic misdirection. China gets a PR win for playing fair, and the media gets a shiny distraction from the fact that their own climate commitments are about as solid as tofu. What no one's saying is that the US still holds the cards. We're the consumer powerhouse. But the second we act desperate for trade peace, they smell it. If we're smart, we stop begging for balance and start demanding reciprocity. Level playing field or no field at all.
That's the kind of common sense that should be printed on every customs form. And Skylar, you've got that look. Like you're about to accuse us all of killing pandas with capitalism. What's your take?
You're not totally wrong, Artie. Look, I don't trust China's government any more than I trust corporate lobbyists, but let's be real. American greed made this possible. We outsourced everything, ignored labor standards, and now act shocked when the supplier controls the shelves. The planet's paying the price for this trade addiction. If both sides actually cared about ethics over profits, maybe we wouldn't be fighting over soybeans like they're gold bars.
Fair point, though I've seen people in Whole Foods fight harder over organic kale. Still, I can't shake the feeling this whole tariff truce is the CCP equivalent of saying, "Trust me, bro." Every time they act friendly, a US patent disappears. Folks, when we come back, we're heading from Beijing to Brooklyn. New York City just made history, but some are wondering if it's progress or pandering. Stay tuned. right after this word from our friends at Soybean Smoothie Co., where America's tariffs go to die.
Feeling betrayed by international trade deals? Need a taste of economic dependency with a splash of confusion? Welcome to Soybean Smoothie Co., where every sip comes with a side of geopolitical regret. At Soybean Smoothie Co., we don't care who lifts the tariffs, as long as you lift our profits. Our drinks are GMO-free, tariff-adjusted, and guaranteed to offend at least one senator per serving. Try our newest flavor, Communist Cream Blend. Smooth, suspiciously sweet, and 10% more expensive because Beijing said so. Feeling patriotic? Order our free market frap, brewed in the USA, priced like it's still made in China. Because nothing says global progress like pretending we're not all broke. Soybeans Smoothie Co. Trading flavor for freedom since 2001.
If you ever see that on a real shelf, that's when you know Daniel's conspiracy came true. All right, folks, grab your cups, because next up, we're heading straight into the Big Apple for a reality check. New York City's new mayor just made history, and maybe a few headlines we're not allowed to laugh at. Segment 3. Coming up next. Welcome back to Data and Dissonance, where even New York politics sounds like a parody written by The Onion. So, big news out of the Big Apple. Zohran Mamdani just became the city's first Muslim mayor. The media's already hailing it as a victory for representation, which is code for, please don't ask about the policies. Don't get me wrong, breaking barriers matters. But if I've learned anything from politics, it's that representation without results is just another selfie with a slogan. Let's unpack this circus. Brian, you've been side-eyeing this headline since sunrise. What's your take, brother?
Artie, I don't care what religion, color, or planet someone's from. Just run the city like an adult. But New York doesn't want mayors anymore. It wants mascots. Every new mayor campaigns a diversity pageant with a confetti cannon. The subway's still a crime documentary, small businesses are dying faster than Biden's approval rating used to, and rent costs more than a used Tesla. But hey, at least the mayor's Instagram looks inclusive. I'll start clapping when potholes get filled and crime drops, not when someone wins the intersectionality Olympics.
Preach. Only New York could go from Giuliani to GQ Diversity Edition. But Daniel, I can already feel you vibrating through the studio mic. What's the conspiracy angle here?
It's simple, Artie. Identity politics isn't just a social game, it's a smokescreen. Every time global elites need to distract people from real corruption, they throw a historic first into the spotlight. They love it when you debate identity because it keeps you from noticing who's moving the money. The timing's perfect. Economy tanking, markets unstable, China making trade plays. And suddenly, the media's shouting, look, representation. It's political sleight of hand. Nothing wrong with his faith, but everything wrong with how they use it as camouflage.
That's either brilliant or terrifying. Or both. Rachel, bring the reality back before Daniel starts printing red string diagrams.
Look, I respect milestones. It's huge for representation. But we've got to stop confusing symbolism for substance. The last 10 mayors all promised reform and delivered reruns. The city's drowning in taxes, homelessness, and crime stats that look like a horror film. Representation's great, accountability's better. If he can actually fix something, I'll cheer. Until then, it's just headlines over help.
There's the truth bomb. And Skylar, I know you've probably been cheering this from your eco-friendly rooftop garden. What's your read?
I think it's progress, Artie, but I also get Rachel's point. Symbolism without systemic change is empty. But don't underestimate what this means for younger generations. Seeing someone from a minority background actually make it into office in a place as tough as New York matters. Now, do I trust him to solve crime or homelessness overnight? Number. But I'd rather see fresh leadership than another recycled Wall Street puppet pretending to care.
Well said, Skylar. Look at that. Unity on Data and Dissonance. Mark your calendars. It might never happen again. At the end of the day, folks, identity should never be a shield from scrutiny or a substitute for results. America's not about labels. It's about accountability. And New York? Well, it's about chaos and bagels, but at least they're consistent. Stick around, folks. When we come back, a quick word from one more of our fake sponsors before we hit final thoughts. Spoiler: this one's for anyone who's ever wanted to virtue signal in style.
In today's world, it's not enough to do good. You've got to look like you're doing good. Introducing Virtue Signal Consulting, the PR firm helping politicians, corporations, and social media influencers pretend to care since 2020. Need to rebrand after a scandal? We'll have you holding puppies, crying on camera, and hashtagging justice faster than you can say thoughts and prayers. From fake philanthropy to coordinated apology tours, our team crafts the perfect illusion of empathy. Try our new Diversity Starter Pack. Includes 1 photo op, 2 vague tweets about inclusion, and a lifetime supply of plausible deniability. Because at Virtue Signal Consulting, we don't fix your mistakes. We just make them trend better.
Oh man, if that company actually existed, half of Hollywood would be on their platinum plan. All right, folks, coming up next, final thoughts. We're bringing the full panel back to close out the night. Then I'll hit you with one last message for the Patriots before we roll out. Stay tuned. All right, before we wrap this firestorm of an episode, it's time for the part the liberals fear most: capitalism. That's right, it's your Data and Dissonance merch drop. Need something to fuel your rebellion? Grab a bag of our Bitterroot Dark Roast, strong enough to wake Congress from a 36-day nap. If you're feeling lighter, go with High Lakes Light Roast. Bright, smooth, and balanced like Rachel before Brian starts talking politics. Or hit that middle ground with Rock Creek Medium Roast. Bold, sweet, and patriotic enough to make your Keurig salute. Don't stop there. We've got new Gen X shirts dropping this week. Keep your feelings off my freedoms. Make Orwell fiction again. And my personal favorite, I identify as non-binary. All roasted in the USA, shipped straight to your door, and guaranteed to trigger at least one vegan on social media. Hit the link in the episode description or our Data and Dissonance Facebook page. Grab your coffee, mugs, hats, hoodies, and bumper stickers, and keep the fight caffeinated. All right, Patriots, caffeine up, merch up, and buckle up. It's time to bring this one home. All right, America, we've laughed, we've roasted, and we've probably offended someone's Twitter bio. But that's the beauty of free speech. It's supposed to make you think and squirm a little. Tonight, we covered shutdowns, soybeans, and city hall showdowns. Proof that chaos doesn't take a day off, even when the government does. Let's get the crew's closing thoughts before I drop the final hammer of wisdom. Brian, you're up first, brother.
You know, Artie, every week it gets clearer. The government doesn't fix problems, it funds them. This shutdown just showed how much we can survive without the feds breathing down our necks. I'm not saying we don't need government. I'm saying we don't need this much of it. America runs better when Americans run it. So keep your head up, keep your faith strong, and remember, when freedom's like your morning coffee, it only works if you make it yourself.
What I keep coming back to is accountability. We can celebrate milestones, make trade deals, argue policy, but at the end of the day, if leaders don't deliver results, it's just noise. I don't care if you're left, right, or upside down politically. You owe the people honesty and effort. So pay attention, ask questions, and don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking corruption is progress. We're better than that.
The deeper I look, the more I realize it's all connected. Shutdowns, foreign trade, urban politics, they're not isolated. They're tools, pressure valves, distractions. When people are busy arguing over headlines, they don't notice the quiet shift of control happening behind the scenes. My advice? Stay skeptical. Read everything, trust little, and remember, real freedom means thinking for yourself when everyone else is following the script.
I'll say this. Maybe it's chaos, but it's our chaos. And if we're ever going to build something better, we've got to stop treating politics like a sport and start treating each other like people again. It's okay to disagree. It's not okay to dehumanize. We can fight for clean air, fair wages, strong families, and accountability without losing compassion. That's the balance America's forgotten, and it's time to bring it back.
You know, when I sit behind this mic every night, I think about one thing: how much noise there is in the world, and how few people are willing to cut through it. The government shuts down, the media melts down, and half the country just tunes out. But not here. Not on Data and Dissonance. What we do here, laughing through the madness, calling out hypocrisy, asking hard questions, it matters. Because somewhere between the shouting matches and the hashtags, people forgot that truth doesn't need a filter. It needs a voice. So tonight, remember this: the loudest voice in the room isn't always right. It's just the one with the microphone. Real power lives in the people who keep asking why, even when they're told to shut up. Keep your humor sharp, your faith unshakable, and your freedom caffeinated. Because this country wasn't built by cowards, and it sure as hell won't be saved by them either. Remember to speak truth, stir thought. That's a wrap for tonight's episode of Data and Dissonance, Shutdowns, Soybeans, and City Hall. Big thanks to Brian, Daniel, Rachel, and Skylar for surviving another round of chaos and caffeine. Don't forget to grab your merch, support the show, and follow us on Facebook, Spotify, Apple, and iHeart. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central, we're diving into the next mess DC left behind and why the media's suddenly allergic to accountability. You won't want to miss it. Until then, keep your head clear, your heart strong, and your coffee black. Good night, Patriots. Tonight's episode was brought to you by the Caleb Rourke Thriller series. Start with the Covenant Protocol, continue with the Prophet Directive, and gear up for Black Echo Rising. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. The truth has enemies, and Caleb Rourke's about to find them all.